In the gleaming world of corporate giants and billion-dollar deals, some tragedies are whispered, not spoken. For Marcus Thorne, a CEO who could command the world but couldn't command a smile from his own daughter, the greatest tragedy was the silence that filled his mansion. His daughter, Lily, hadn't laughed since her mother's death. But one afternoon, in a crowded city park, a poor orphan girl offered Lily her only possession, a worn, handmade doll. It was a simple act of kindness. Marcus had no idea that sewn into the fabric of that old doll was a name he had tried to erase from his memory, a name that was about to unravel a secret that would either destroy him or finally set him free. Maya was a ghost, a child of the foster care system, shuffled from one temporary home to another. At 16, she was almost aged out of the system, her only true friend, a handmade doll named Anna. It was the last thing her mother had made for her before the fire, its button eyes and yarn hair a constant reminder of a love she barely remembered. The doll was her history, her family, her entire world, all wrapped in faded cloth. Her latest group home was near the city's most beautiful park, a place where she would go to escape, to watch families laugh and play, a world she could see but never enter. One sunny afternoon, she saw a little girl, no older than 7, sitting alone on a bench, crying silent, heartbreaking tears. The girl was dressed in expensive clothes, but she looked like the loneliest person in the world. A man in a short suit, her father, stood nearby, speaking urgently into his phone, oblivious to his daughter's pain. This was Marcus Thorne and his daughter, Lily. Maya's heart ached for the little girl. She knew that kind of loneliness. Hesitantly, she approached the bench. She didn't have any money for candy or any comforting words that would sound hollow. She only had Anna. With trembling hands, she held out her doll. "She's very good at listening to secrets," Maya whispered. Lily looked up, her tear-filled eyes wide with surprise. She slowly reached out and took the doll, hugging it tightly as if it were a lifeline. A tiny, fragile smile touched her lips for the first time that day. From a distance, Marcus Thorne finished his call and saw the interaction. He saw his daughter, his silent, grieving Lily, smiling. He walked over, ready to dismiss the ragged-looking teenager, but the sight of his daughter's smile stopped him. "Thank you," he said, his voice stiff and unused to gratitude. He pulled out his wallet, offering Maya a $100 bill. Maya shook her head, gently pushing his hand away. She needed a friend, she said softly, not a transaction. And with a final sad look at the doll she was leaving behind, she turned and walked away, disappearing back into the anonymity of the city. Marcus was stunned. The girl's refusal of his money, her quiet dignity, it was unexpected. He sat down next to Lily, who was now whispering to the doll. For the first time in months, she seemed peaceful. As he looked at the doll, he noticed some clumsy faded stitching on its dress. A name. He leaned closer to read it. And then his world stopped. The name sewn into the doll's dress was Isabel, his wife's name, his dead wife's name. He froze, his blood turning to ice. It had to be a coincidence, a cruel, impossible coincidence. He looked up, searching for the orphan girl, but she was long gone. That night, Marcus couldn't sleep. The doll sat on his desk, a silent accusation. Isabel had been an orphan too. She grew up in the same city foster care system. Before they were married, she used to volunteer, teaching the girls how to sew. She always made dolls, each with a button missing, or a slightly crooked smile. Perfection is cold. It's the little flaws that make something lovable, she used to say. This doll, it had his wife's signature flaws. He spent the next day in a frantic search, using his immense resources to find the girl from the park. His security team finally tracked her down to a rundown group home on the other side of the city. When Marcus arrived, the home's director told him Maya's story. She was a fire orphan. Her parents had died when she was 6. Her mother's name was Anna. Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. Isabel had a younger sister, Anna, a sister she had lost contact with after a bitter family argument years before they had met, an argument Isabel had regretted until the day she died. He never met her. He didn't even know if she had a child. He asked to see Maya's file. Inside, among the sparse bureaucratic documents, was a single, fire-damaged photograph. A young woman with kind, familiar eyes holding a baby. On the back of the photo, a faded inscription, "My little Maya, with her Aunt Isabel's eyes." The truth hit him like a physical blow. This girl, this poor, lonely orphan who had given her daughter her only possession, was his wife's niece. She was Lily's cousin. She was family. He found Maya sitting alone by a window, staring out at the world. He sat down, his heart aching with a decade of his wife's regret. He didn't know what to say, so he just held out the doll. Maya's eyes filled with tears. "You came to give her back?" "No," Marcus said, his voice thick with emotion. Then he showed her the photograph. "I came to bring you home." That day, 2 broken families became one. Maya left the group home for the last time, not for another temporary placement, but for a home, for a family. Lily, her silent grief finally broken, found not just a cousin, but a sister. And Marcus, the man who thought he had lost every piece of his wife, found a living, breathing part of her in the girl with his wife's eyes. He learned that the greatest transactions have nothing to do with money. They are the simple, selfless exchanges of the heart. A doll for a smile, a memory for a future, a kindness that brings a hidden family out of the shadows and into the light.